Good evening, everybody. I'm going to be explaining about how several of this stuff works. So first of all, we are at the Gods and Goddesses AU. So basically, in the beginning, there is a empty void of chaos, and the universe was dark, and it was not. It was formless, right? But then a great light of big divinity was there and created, forming 4 different crystals, and several others were created. Basically, the main 4 were created, which was my 2 OCs, which is Dawn and Dusk, and then there was Otis, who ends up being Golden Freddy. If you have a better way to call him, please put in the comments. And then there's Puppet, who's going to be playing the role of Akane, which basically is goddess of puppetry or, control. Since most of her powers deal with controlling people. So during the whole entire years, the stars were colliding, becoming constellations. The constellations are living, which is the astral bodies. So yeah, now Izami and her husband have many kids, ranging from basically, first they went to a different universe, took Agani, which is solar, and basically had him be taken care of by someone else. This will vary from different tellings and so on. But then they had Moon, Sun, Earth, and Lunar. They did have Eclipse a little before, but he was excluded because of extra stuff, but we'll get into that later. But basically, after a while, Moon, which we're going to call Tsukuyomi, basically ends up being caught with Solar and a bed of flowers getting very close. And of course, since the parents would always see this as a mating type of thing, they were planning on setting up Moon with somebody already, but they were like, maybe Agani would be a good fit. Besides, they're both smart, they both have similar personalities, so it will work. So basically, they bid them adieu by arranging them together and were given to each other as the other's bride and groom. So yeah, after that, humankind was created. So they both were left. Moon came with his brother, gave some islands to his... Tsukuyomi gave some beautiful islands to his husband, Agani. Or their husband, varies, because they're one of those people who has different things. He wanted to thank his lover for everything he has done for him, so that's why the islands are given. Agani becomes one of the major volcanoes and stuff like that. So basically, that's what this whole entire thing is here for, as you can tell. And several of the other characters, like Monty, he's called Poseidon, while Earth is called Gaia. Very interesting. Don't even question it. Anyways, in the second chapter basically talks about how Moon created the robotic bodies for them not really robotic, they're human bodies, so that way they can roam around with the humans. So yeah, he created the flower, the bodies and stuff like that, Tsukuyomi was doing this with his best friend, the ocean, being Poseidon. So basically, him and his partner and got consent by the ocean god, which was Poseidon, so that way she can coexist with humankind and stuff like that, So she's thankful, yada yada yada. That happens. I might make the first chapter bigger, just to explain some extra phenomenons that happened before, chapter 2. So yeah, that might happen. Anyways, this is beautiful. Now, gifts and offerings is a different one. which is basically Moon telling his sister that he gave her the body and stuff. Pretty cool, isn't it? So yeah, and then Earth creates her kingdom and stuff like that. I think I should have done more on this chapter, so I might do that. Next, chapter 3, 4,000 years later. In this one, every 100 years is like 1 year for them. So yeah, that's what we're gonna go by. So yeah, 4,000 years later, basically Agani is like reading the storybook to his 2 daughters. Yes, they have 2 daughters. Well, actually, more children, because basically the moment Agani and Tsukuyomi got married, it was straight to making as many demigods as they can. So yeah, that's lovely. You don't question how many they have. They probably have like I think they have 10. Yeah. It's crazy, I know. Yeah, and the Earth Kingdom was basically shown to Moon, and like Tsukuyomi was super happy about this. Well, Moon was super happy about this, and they celebrated with the banquet. So yeah. And Moon even got to name the Earth Kingdom, which is great. And then back then there was like how the twins were born, which is a little interesting. Let's talk about the story. Because actually this is a little it's a little outdated, so I would just explain it. So basically, I'm just gonna go to the first chapter so I can explain. So basically, Sun is immortal, correct? So that means his name is Helios in this. He is 1,700 years old, which means 17 years old in this thing. So he's 17, and basically Foxy, who is 18 at the time, he notices, if only I was as powerful as that guy. So he knew exactly what to do. He grabbed some of the sun god's favorite foods and stuff like that. He put it right next to his boat. Of course, this attracts Helios, which is sun. He flies down, he takes the fruit and accidentally trips, getting out of his immortal form, turning mortal, which is the exact wrong thing to do. Of course, this was like very bad, so Helios started to freak out, but then Foxy was like, hey, you know, you could stay here and I can get you more food. And like Sun was super happy about this. He keeps his identity secret, and then after a while, how do I say this? Basically, they did whatever you would normally expect from a Greek mythology myth. Yeah, it gets messy. So yeah, they do that. You probably already know what I'm talking about. So yeah, they do that stuff, and they end up, it was like very big, because normally the gods would know how to keep it in their pants, but this time it was like one of the first times that a god has an affair with a human. So it's a little big here. I'm not supposed to make a joke right now, but you know, it was crazy. And basically the only way that children were able to be made between these kinds of things, well, first of all, the gods can shapeshift into females. And let's just say, but if it's not the case, the only way a child could grow was basically through a mindscape of the people, because they're still partially monster, or like they're still partially animatronic. It's just that they really just have this special thing about them that makes them into somebody that can basically do whatever they want, and they can like shift their body. And basically the mindscape can grow children too. Basically I pulled the same logic that made Lunar into this. Yes, I am really pulling that, but it's fine. It's fine. I swear. Yeah. So yeah, that's what happened. Of course, Sukuyomi gets super livid about this because no brother of his is supposed to be doing this stuff, and he could get really much in trouble. So basically, Moon keeps trying to get them to separate and stuff like that. So yeah, this thing is kind of outdated, so I might have to redo it real quick. Yeah, because this is like a very short chapter too, so I think it will need a lot more depth to it, which is what I'm gonna do. Anyways, like I was saying, that happened. They found that, like, hey, maybe this could help us. You can be the ambassador I have for Earth, and you can also like help me with my certain tasks. Like, all you have to do is pretend you work for me, and then it will be more acceptable. And then I can protect you and stuff like that. After a while, Sun becomes so whipped for his new little apprentice here that he's like, maybe I can give him some ambrosia so he can live with me forever. So he went over, took some ambrosia from Aphrodite's palace. You do not need to know who Aphrodite is at this moment, but basically he went to Aphrodite's palace, took the ambrosia, and then gave it to Foxy while they were drinking together. So yeah, that was like one of the reasons. That's one of the tales that explain how Foxy got the ambrosia. The other one was because of that divine collision between him and Sun, the ambrosia magically transferred from Sun to Foxy. So yeah, that's another way how he became immortal. Another was that Sun put in a good word for Foxy, and then there. But then they decided to make a pact that, hey, I know we can't be doing this because I know you are not interested in like anything else. You're probably just interested in just the protection of this, and you're probably gonna fall in love with someone else. So how about this? You can continue with your love life. I can continue with my own love life. But we're still gonna be seeing each other. We're still gonna be doing this. We just need to make sure our partners is okay with this. So yeah, that's how it is. Yeah, it's a big situationship. Like, we don't talk about that, but it's fine. The fourth one is based, and also, like, Sun gives Foxy a very important job, which was to grant the new gods and goddesses immortality by giving them the ambrosia that was stolen. Anyways, yeah, it's kind of messed up, but you know, it's Greek mythology, y'all. Chapter 4 is basically Foxy giving the ambrosia to the newest addition, Aurora. So yeah, he wants to make sure that the child is ready for everything. He grabs the ambrosia, and then he grabs an anointment oil that basically makes her immortal. So yeah, now she was ready, and there you go. Staff user, she's there. And yeah, things go well off, and then miscellaneous voices and myths basically talks about like how Aurora accidentally meets this mysterious figure. We don't know who he is, and Moon teases her about it, so that's why the little squigglies is there. Anyways, then there's just little bit of myths and hints over there. I might add some more myths, you know, just to make this chapter longer. I think that's my biggest issue. I made them very short, so I'm gonna make them longer. While chapter 6, the underworld, is actually pretty big. This was a very fun one. And then the part 2, Journey to the Underworld, was also very fun to do. I'm gonna have these two together because it's cute. So yeah, that, yeah. Now 7.5, which is basically the journey. There's 7.1, 7.5. So yeah. We're not even done with this. So as you can tell, okay, so this is what I have so far. We're all the way down, and basically what happens is that Shingami, also known as Stitch Rice, he basically went and then he took one of the daughters of Poseidon and Gaia, poisoned her, and then basically made her, very sick. And to the point that it was like, oh my gosh, like, how could he do this? Like, Gaia's super angry and stuff, and like, tells her partner, like, hey, you need to fuse with me right now, because in this world they can fuse and stuff. Like, they can fuse themselves, which gives them extra powers and boosters. So that's how this works. So basically, she's like, come on, you're hurting our children, our nieces, and our nephews. And Monty's like afraid, so he just decided to agree with his lover. So basically, Earth is livid that her own kid is being hurt and tortured by this man. So yeah, that happens, and then this whole entire sequence that I got inspired purely by Epic, you can already tell. And then this one will be inspired by something I called the influence of social media, which is why it's called Hypnota. As you can tell, basically, the Lotus Islands is the young daughter, like, basically was all told right here. Basically, everybody in this island was just, there's like a mini recap about what happened last chapter. Then basically all of this. Snapdragon, who is like a child's girl, like daughter of the sun god and voyage. Basically, daughter of the sun god and the voyage god. Her name was Snapdragon. More about her later and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's it that I have on this. Next time, we're going to be talking about what I'm planning to do for the Pirates AU, but that'll be on another time. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I'll see you next time.